Your Divine Lord is threatening all of Tyria. If another dragon dies, we all die.
At a time when elder dragons endanger the whole world, Kryta must make uncommon allies.
These roaming undead hinder the flow of energy. We must feed them to the lava, to his fires. The time has come. You ready to fulfill a prophecy? Go! Save the world. Save Tyria.
Hello and good day everyone. So we've all lived, breathed and played it. The Season 3 of Guild Wars 2, the one season that came after the Heart of Thorns expansion. In this video I'm going to go over what I thought personally what was good about the season and what was not good about it. In order to do this though, I will be talking obviously about the content, so if you have not yet played this season, please be advised there will be spoilers. So let's first take a look at the good bits and then we take a look at what I thought were the not so good bits. So the thing that really stands out in my opinion that is really great about what they added in the Living Seasons are the new zones. Just the fact that they actually added a new zone with every episode, despite that the fact that the zones are still small, is just amazing. It adds more exploration, more things to do in the world, and they just, you know, I enjoyed the zones. First we had of course Bloodstone Fen. It's a rather vertical zone. It had some interesting things with the gliding and all that stuff. And well, yeah, I mean, it's alright. It has the Bloodstone. There's one thing about the Bloodstone that I'll come back to later. But yeah, I really enjoyed exploring that. Then after that we have Ember Bay. It's great returning to the Ring of Fire Islands, despite the fact that it looks a lot different than it actually did in Guild Wars 1. Although I have to say that we are quite a bit further south of the zones where we actually were in Guild Wars 1. We don't actually see any part of the Ring of Fire that was accessible in the original Guild Wars. Then we've had a bit of Frost Frontier. Really visually I was stunned when I entered it the first time, although I have to say that I entered it when it was night in game, and it just looked amazing, really. Visually a beautiful zone. The events, at least in the beginning, I have not returned to the zone, to be completely honest, after I've done my things there. But the events there were quite tricky. Then we go to a personal favorite, really, Lake Doric. And the reason why that's my personal favorite is because it has this genuine Warzone-like feeling to it. Similar to the feeling I had when I went into Ore for the first time since the game was released. Really, I just love the zone. I like the events. The only shame is that some of the events are just undoable because of the amount of people that are AFK farming there with their necromancers and minions and turret engineers and, you know, I don't know what. Right. Then we have the Draconis Mons zone. A really interesting zone. I found it really hard to navigate at first, although yeah, it's an interesting zone despite the fact that it does not make a lot of sense in my opinion, the entire zone. How it works, geologically, physically, it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And then we go to, I believe, the last zone. I might have forgotten one, but I don't think I did, which is Siren's Landing. And returning tour is something that I really enjoyed as well. It was fun. It's great to see ore again. It's great to see how it's changing this way, after Zyton died, despite the fact that I would really love to see an overhaul for the actual original 3 zones for that. Maybe something we'll see in the future, maybe not, who can tell. Besides that, we've had some new masteries. These masteries being the ancient magics, counter magic, thermal propulsion, Coda's flame, spectral aid, Oakheart's reach, and Siren of Ore. Honestly, I don't have a lot to say about them, despite other than the fact that it's nice to see them adding new stuff to the game. Besides that, we've had some new skins. I cannot come up with any skins really that I say like, oh yeah, this skin is amazing, I need to have this skin. But that's just me. For some of you that don't know me, when it comes to RPG skins, I prefer some skins that are somewhat more realistic in the way that they look, rather than the more cartoonish thing. That's also why my character Vel actually tends to wear, something that resembles full plate armor a bit more, rather than wearing some, more skimpy plate armor or a chainmail bikini or something like that. That's just personal preference in my opinion, although the reason why I prefer that is just because of how combat works in reality and how it actually looks protective. Yeah, that's most of the positive things. Onto the less positive things, I guess, which I will kick off with just talking a bit about the story episode by episode and what actually bothers me about it, because there are inconsistencies in the episodes compared to the lore of the game and a couple of other things. So we'll go on to that next. Alright, so starting with episode 1, Out of the Shadows. I'm not going to summarize the episode really, because we all know what happened. I will not talk about Lazarus. There are some things I want to mention about him, which I will do later on when we get to the right episode to discuss it. The thing here I want to talk about is Bloodstone. I mean, Bloodstone exploding, alright, sure, fine. But then if you look at the Bloodstone, look at everything that is made out of Bloodstone, it's red. For those of you that don't play Guild Wars 1, Bloodstones are not red, they are just grey stones. They have nothing red. They are not called the Bloodstones because, they are blood red. They are called the Bloodstones because, they were used and sealed with King Doric's blood to prevent any one person from mastering all classes of magic or schools of magic. So yeah, the Bloodstones, they are not supposed to be red at all, just grey stones. Alright, so episode 2, Raising Flames. I don't actually have a lot of criticism about this. I mean, if Aenad wants to create it so that the dragon magic is, being, or the magic from the other dragon is being absorbed by, some other dragon, and that this merges their thingies together so that you get these weird, jungle fire minions. I'm fine with that. The only thing I have to say is that Aurene is really hideous. Really, it looks nothing like Glint or anything. It's just hideous. It looks ugly. It's a bad model, and I really hate it. All right, so about episode 3. Really, Braham, what the fuck? I don't think he has any motive to behave like some edgy teenager that's just going to do whatever the fuck he wants to do. The character currently doesn't make any sense, and like seriously, when I saw the last cutscene of episode 3, I was like, why not, bend Braham over a knee and just give him some spanking until he is willing to listen, And it doesn't make any sense for the Pax Commander to just be like, oh yeah, sure, you go off, kill a dragon that, might not really be a good idea if we actually kill it right now. Right, so with episode 5, Head of the Snake, we actually run into some of the larger issues with the Living Seasons. Now, going back to the original Living Seasons, the idea was to create a system that will make the world feel more alive, have a story that is ever progressing, etc. So when in Head of the Snake, we kill Codicus, and it is officially revealed, although everyone pretty much knew it already, that he is the leader of the White Mantle, blah blah blah. Nothing changed. I mean, yes, we kill him, and that's the end of, his leadership, or at least for now, the leadership of the White Mantle, if there is any White Mantle left. But the issue here is that, meanwhile, in Divinity's Reach, we still have these NPCs that say, that Codicus is a good person and all that stuff. There still are Codicus supports around Divinity's Reach. If the Living Season would be implemented the way that, it should have been implemented, I think that Arena should have chosen to replace those dialogues. Possibly create a system where everyone that completed this season will see different dialogues than anyone else. I know that the technology is there to make it possible. So why not, it just feels odd. It just doesn't seem right if you look at what the Living Season is supposed to be like. Yeah, it just takes the living part away from it. Nothing is changing at all. It's just, the same old stuff everywhere all the time, and that is something that I think should really change. Put the living world back in the living world or something. So in episode 5, Flashpoint, we come to one of the biggest issues in the Living Season, in my opinion, and that is when Lazarus is revealed to be Balthazar. I mean, I don't understand why, Balthazar would suddenly become evil, and why he is not using his brains. So, yeah, I mean, he is, a powerful god of war, and humans worship him. Alright, that is established. And then he decides to come to, Tyria, disguised as Lazarus, to manipulate the White Mantle into achieving his own goals, which is draining the energy of Primordus. The thing is that, at the moment that the Pax Commander finds this out, it's like, yeah, why would a god of war disguise himself? There is something wrong about it. mean, if Balthazar had used his brains, why wouldn't he just come to Tyria and, you know, all of his godly might and be like, hey, look guys, you have these elder dragons here that want to kill you. Guess what? I'm going to help you get rid of them. And that way execute his plans. I mean, the humans would in no way not, you know, support their god as far as I'm aware. So tactically and strategically and story-wise, I just think that this just doesn't make any sense. It's just so weird. Really, it doesn't make sense for him to just disguise himself as Lazarus and manipulate the White Mantle. There are plenty of other ways that he could achieve his goal without, you know, such a high chance to be compromised, because I assumed that the gods would know that, you know, every single human in Tyria is pretty much on the side that anything that the White Mantle does is bad. So yeah, it's not the smartest of choices, really. And with that, we come to the last episode, which is episode 6, One Path Ends. And well, the only thing I have to say about this is I think that the amount of emphasis placed on or focus placed on Abaddon, I don't quite understand it. I mean, obviously Abaddon is dead. Why add Abaddon weapon skins? And I don't know. Well, I mean, he is dead. If Einad is going to retcon him being dead, that would be the most stupid thing ever. We killed him. He's dead. Cormyr, you know, took up his mantle and became the new goddess of truth and secrets, despite the fact that it really should have been on Guild Wars 1 characters, because, well, they kind of did all the work. But yeah, Abaddon is dead. Like, no need for that to be such a focus on Abaddon in this part. And after that, besides that, I have to say that I was disappointed by the reveal of Livia. It's underwhelming for a random character that I just randomly introduced to be Livia. I mean, it would have made a lot more sense for them to make it like, oh look, that character that you knew for pretty much the entire game, this is Livia. And yeah, I think that would have been a better choice, but that's just my opinion. And after that, I only have one real big criticism on the episode itself, rather than some of the other choices that were made, which I will discuss after this. And that is the last cutscene, which I will show right here on the screen.
Nothing's...
Right, so what I actually want to talk about is this image. We see this pyramid in multiple shapes throughout the short cutscene at the end. And, well, let me bring it to you. There were no pyramids in the Crystal Desert or in Nilona. There are some pyramid-like structures, but nothing that has, as you know, steep angles, which are, I believe, 90 degrees, like we see on that picture. Honestly, I have not measured the degrees, might be incorrect. But the angling of the angled structures, the walls are a lot steeper than that. So, I mean, obviously this can be explained through several things. Maybe they were built in the 250 years that we have not been in the Crystal Desert. Maybe they have been somewhere underground and they have been unearthed by some sandstorms or something. I don't know. But it's just odd, in my opinion, to suddenly add pyramids to the Crystal Desert. I think it just doesn't make sense. They feel, to me, out of place. And I really hope that ANET is not going to add these pyramid structures in the form of an explorable zone, a raid, a dungeon, or whatever, in, with the thing of like, look, this is an ancient pyramid that you can explore. It has been here for, thousands of years, and it just wouldn't make sense. This is one of the things that is bothering me in this game. The fact that ArenaNet, like I said with the Bloodstone as well, it feels very inconsistent. Just like, putting such a focus on Abaddon in the last season, it feels out of place. It does not feel right, in my opinion. Because, well, it just... It like I said, I mean, I've played Guild Wars 1 for forever. I've played Guild Wars 2 since, launch. I pre-ordered the game and everything. And it just feels very out of place compared to how it, is supposed to be. But all I can say is that we'll see. And I mean, in one of my future videos, I might get back on this if I make videos on Path of Fire. Yeah. A couple of more negative points, in my opinion, on the living seasons. Well, it is the way that they work. I mean, I've had this argument with people that, ArenaNet, when they added their content, when they added Heart of Thorns, they asked too much money for the expansion. And there is too little content in it. I mean, we got some mastery systems, we got 4 new maps, and that's, we've got the elite class, we got the Revenant, which feels out of place in the game as well, in my opinion. And it just doesn't feel like it's worth the amount of money that we put in. And the counter argument I get often enough is that they added the living seasons and that it's free content for everyone who already owns Heart of Thorns. And that is somewhat true. Except when I've got multiple accounts, and when I log on one of my alt accounts that I don't play on very often, I get to see that I don't have all the season episodes unlocked. I don't care about having them unlocked myself on that account. But, I mean, say I haven't been able to play the game because of some specific reason during the time that these episodes were added. I will need to pay 200 gems per episode. That totals to 1200 gems. I mean, yes, of course you can farm the amount of money for these gems and, not spend any real money on it. But it technically seen, you're going to have to pay an additional 20 euros. I don't know what the pound or dollar values are for the gems at the moment. I'm sorry about that. But you're going to have to pay 20 euros for the content if you have not grabbed it while it was available. Despite the fact that, if you already bought the base game, you paid 60 euros most likely for the base game. You paid 60 euros for the for Heart of Thorns. I mean, that is 120 euros. That is, in my opinion, a lot of money for a game. And if you then compare it to Guild Wars 1, in Guild Wars 1, when we got an expansion, it was not an expansion, except for Eye of the North. But if you look at Factions on Nightfall, we got, a new continent. We got 2 new classes. We got a load of new skills for every every other class in the game already. That's already in the game. And with Nightfall, I mean, we even got not a lot, but a few new assassin skills. So yeah, Guild Wars 1 just contained a lot more content for less money. And I know what some of you might say, you know, if you like Guild Wars 1 so much, then go back play Guild Wars 1. And well, honestly, I still play it sometimes, really, but it just feels like ArenaNet could be doing so much more. The game has so much potential, but I am somewhat disappointed in what we've seen so far. But yeah, my opinion on the season 3 is that I mean, definitely it's going into the right direction. The story, well, it's not great in my opinion, but I might think it's a lot better if Path of Fire will explain certain things, and you know, those explanations might, you know, improve my overall opinion on season 3. The zones were fun, as I said. So, well, if I would give it a rating, I'd give it something like a 6.5 out of 10 or a 5 out of 10. Somewhere in between that. Rather mediocre, but it's not entirely bad. It could be better. That's what I think. If you have anything else to discuss about Guild Wars 2, please leave something in the comment. You know, if you like this video, give it a like. If you did not like this video, give it a dislike. If you disagree with me, give it a dislike. I don't really care. If you want to see more Guild Wars 2 content or any other games that I might play, please, you know, click that subscribe button. And I do hope to see you in the next one. Bye.